which show that actually LGBT teenagers are far more prevalent to depression and suicide, sadly.
Yeah, those are two different things.
Well, no, they're linked, because you tend to, sadly, they are linked. Depression doesn't always lead to suicide, but it is the step before. You don't tend to suddenly commit suicide. The vast majority all ones that I'm aware of have had a period of depression beforehand. Depression then can lead to self-harm. I mean, what a horrendous conversation we're having. Sorry, what I'm actually slightly shocked about is what's behind your question.
Well, what's behind the question is that Lizzie Lowe was a very noted icon.
I'm sure you can, and the truth is we're going to disagree on that. I spend a lot of my time dealing with teenagers, as does Sally Hitchner, who's coming here in October, and I hope many of you will engage with her, who see the real heart-rending stories of this. And quite frankly, if our heart isn't breaking over one child, and I'm not just trying to manipulate you emotionally, I showed a video I was hoping to show you today, but I've seen it so many times, but it took me completely by surprise this time, because I found myself in floods of tears and unable to then start the talk, which was actually quite embarrassing. But what I did say as I walked up to her, if you're not in tears by this, independent of what your views are, then you shouldn't be in this room as a clergy person. Because quite frankly, you know, that's why if our hearts are enraged, whatever our views, by the pain this topic is causing, and the pain I know that it's caused me, then I think we need to go back and understand what Christ said when he says, harden not your hearts. You know, I'm sorry to say that quite bluntly, but you know, this is a topic that isn't just a theological debate. It is one that affects the most vulnerable in our society, the most marginalised in Africa, and some of the most undefended people around the world. I was in Vietnam last year for their Gay Pride. I met some people from Bangladesh. The LGBT campaigner was hacked to death last week in the name of religion. Now, are there more people hacked to death or not? The fact is he was, over this issue. So we need to come to a mind on it. I know you wanted to ask me about the fact that there were a lot of theologians who disagree with me. And yes, there are a lot of theologians, there have been. I'm sure they disagreed with Wilberforce and Copernicus too.
This is disagreeing with what the Scripture says.
Yes, I appreciate, but I think we have to recognise we read Scripture differently. And I think our understanding of the context, both of patriarchy, of the culture of the time, is far more advanced now than it used to be. But I'm a mathematician. This isn't, I was trying to think what I was very fortunate to study under Stephen Hawkins at Cambridge, who at the time was questioning Einstein's theory of relativity, who in himself had questioned Newtonian. And each time Cambridge University refused to listen to to Einstein and then to Hawkins. But they shifted the paradigm. They saw a deeper truth, not a different truth, a deeper truth. And that's what I believe, and many other theologians. There are reams of theologians now who are starting to write on this. Again, one of the things I think we have to be very honest about is in our theological colleges, we don't tend to give chairs or indeed jobs to people who hold a view that we think is wrong. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's happening the other way around now.
Well, sadly then we need to look at that and be honest about that. Because I think there's room for both, I really do.